welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. So, again, I'm going to show you me, not just the hands this week, but we're going to talk about my crafting fail. And I thought about, well, maybe I should just scrap this whole project. But guys, honestly, this is a good project. I just failed in the choices I made, and this is where I show you how to fix those, okay? So, with that being said, we are doing a sign, and I love the processes that I show you how to do. Now, this was a Valentine's inspired sign, but I want you to kind of consider this as a sign recipe. I know we have wreath recipes now, but just like a crafting recipe that you can use on different things, either whether it be a sign or a wood shelf or a wood box, but you can use these techniques in the way that you want to show your creativity. So let's see, what did I go wrong? Now, here's where I went wrong. It's the halfway mark is where I went wrong. The first steps of this tutorial were great. Loved them. Made sense, right? But if I can't show you my crafting fails, then I don't know. I don't think anybody's perfect if the last time I checked. So let me show you where I went wrong. This is where I failed, the center. And we're going to talk about what I would do differently. Now, if I had the chance to do this all over and again, and I didn't really want to go through all the steps because it takes a lot of time to create and record a video, to edit it, to upload it. So I didn't want to just throw this project away. I wanted it to be a teaching example, all right? So what I would have changed is I would have made this pink decal that I made. I probably would have done white, and I would have done either a black or a darker pink vinyl here so that the words would really pop out. So I'm going to show you where I failed, but let me tell you, you can take this and do so much better. So let's get started. All right, so I started out this project with these little packs of hearts that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I purchased 3 packs of these, but I only used about 17 hearts. Then I'm just going to take some white chalk paint. I kind of prefer the chalk paint over acrylic paint, but if that's all you have, acrylic paint will do just fine. You might need to do 2 coats. Now, it's really important to have a paint in the background of this because we're going to cover it with a napkin, and it gets a little bit too transparent if you don't paint your background, unless that's the color you're looking for. Then I took the same chalk paint and I just poured on this sign that I got at Hobby Lobby. So one of the things that Hobby Lobby sells usually every spring are these nice big round signs with a hanger on them, and they're pretty affordable. They're already on sale, and I would highly recommend them. So 1 coat of chalk paint will do just fine for this project, and make sure to get around the rims. Then we're going to use Mod Podge for this particular project. Again, I'm just pouring it on because we're going to use a lot of it. Here's the thing, you want to make sure you have really good coverage. And when you're using white as your background, it's kind of hard to tell, but just make sure you go over it very thoroughly and you'll have a great result. We're going to be using a tissue paper, but you could use a napkin if you wanted to, or even fabric. But I find this method so much fun, and this is where I did succeed on this project. Then we're going to take those same little hearts that we painted white, and we're going to add Mod Podge onto them. Now, here's the thing. You're going to let that all dry really, really well. I sat them on the floor. I put a fan on them. In an hour, they were ready to go. So know you have that part. They have to dry. We're not going to put this stuff on wet. And then what we're going to do is going to do a technique that I've done before where we are going to iron it on our project. Now this is just tissue paper. I believe I did get this from Hobby Lobby, but don't quote me on that. I'm putting, I've got this little Cricut iron, but you could use a bigger iron if you want, but make sure you use some parchment paper in between. We don't want to get any paint or anything on your iron. That's pretty important. And I was just trying to get out the wrinkles of this tissue paper. Did I need to do this? Probably not, but you know, better safe than sorry. Then after this is all dry and I'm wiping away any lint, I'm going to position my piece of tissue paper. This tissue paper was really the starting point for this project. I just really loved the way it looked. It looks like we painted it, but we didn't. Then I'm just going to take my time and take my little iron, and I'm going to go over all of this sign, okay? Don't get in a hurry because we need it to adhere. Then we're going to just cut off the excess tissue that we don't need, obviously. And then I got this old scrubby-dubby sanding block, and I threw it away after this project because I was like, this thing is falling apart. So, but you're just going to take a sanding paper or sanding block and go around the sign itself. Then it's time to do the same thing, but we're going to do this to the little hearts. And I had this pack of napkins, guys. I wish I could tell you where I got it from, but I can't remember. It had 3 plies. You want to take all the plies away, and you can see the transparency of the napkin. Now, it's really important that we painted those hearts white. You could have painted them pink, whatever color you wanted. But we let that Mod Podge dry, and then we are going to take our napkin, take a little bit of parchment paper, and you're going to use your iron to adhere it to the heart. Isn't that easy? I just found this was a fun project. And if you notice, I'm going to have several different nail colors, different shirts, different jewelry, because this was one of those projects that I just couldn't do all in one day. So this is how we did this. And I did move the little napkins around because I wanted different flower patterns to be seen. Then all I did was take that sanding block, and that's how I took off the excess napkin. Really easy. So simple. So I thought I was going to give this little Gorilla Glue a try. It didn't work, so don't even bother. Just use your hot glue gun. You could do a mixture of both. You could use E6000. But now we're going to line up all these little hearts around our sign. Now, I think this would be fun with stars for like a July the 4th theme. Any type of little apples maybe for a teacher sign. I just think it would be so cute to bring together. And it was so much fun. It was so aesthetically pleasing until we get to the next part. And that next part is coming soon. Okay, here's the final step for the sign. You're going to take Mod Podge and put it all over your sign one more time, okay? And then you're going to let this dry. Again, this is not a one-day project. This is why you're seeing different shirts and different nail polishes. It'll come here in a moment. But this will just kind of seal it in so that we can put that transfer that we made with Cricut onto this project. But keep in mind, if you don't want to do a Cricut project, you could go get a wooden sign that said, hello, home, blessed, all sorts of things. Use your imagination. So if you are a hand letter artist, I probably wouldn't put the Mod Podge on. I would do that after I put on my letters if I was that talented, which I'm not. I would love to, and we're going to bring somebody in to help us learn those to make our own signs, and it's easier than you think, okay? But let me show you the next part. Little did I know when I was doing this that this was what I shouldn't have done, but I did it anyways. So first off, you're going to pick out your vinyl. Don't pick out, if you're doing one exactly like me, don't do this. Do it the opposite. I would have done the off-white first. Okay, so you're going to go to Cricut Design Space, and this is really up to you. If you want to purchase an annual membership to Cricut Design Space, then you have access to already made projects, and it makes life a little bit easier, especially if you're a beginner with the Cricut products. Or you can pay monthly. I think it's like $9.99 a month. So it's really up to you, okay? But I'm in the Cricut Design Space, but you do have to have it. You don't have to purchase it, but you do have to have it to make your projects. So I'm going to go into the search projects, and I am going to put Valentine signs. I ended up picking, let's see, where is it at? It's over here. I liked this. I'm going to edit a copy, so it's going to put it on my canvas. And this is where you work, even if you were bringing stuff outside of Cricut, into, like if you were on Canva and you were making an SVG file, this is where you would put it so that we can make it, right? So what I want to do is I need to make it smaller, all right? Because this is going to be too big for my sign. So I just go to the edges like here, kind of similar to what you would do on, you know, Canva if you're familiar with that. So this gets it well within the margins. But here's the thing. This is where I messed up in this project, okay? I kept everything the same color and I should have used a different color. And that's why I wanted to explain this, that I love the thought behind this craft. I love what we've done up until this point, but this is where I kind of messed up. So what you're going to do is I wanted this all to be one color. You could do two separate colors and then put them down on your project. I probably should have done this, but I didn't. So in order to make this all one project so that it will cut together, I go over here to combine down here. And we are going to click weld. And so what that does is it welds all these pieces together, right? So we just want a basic cut. So now we're going to click the make. Now I already have my Maker 3 connected. If you have a different machine, this will work just fine. The Cricut Joy, you have parameters that you have to keep within, like I think it's 6 inches wide. So we're going to hit make. And I'm not going to save it. I've already saved this. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to use it on my mat, and we're using a 12.12 inch mat. We're going to click confirm. You see it all there. Great. Then we're going to click on what materials we're going to use here, and then we're going to get it ready to make, okay? All right, so I have a matte vinyl. I'm going to click on that. And it is ready to go. And so once I get my mat into the actual Cricut Maker, now I've already done this project. This is me explaining where I messed up. You're gonna click on the little double arrow button, load your mat, and then you're gonna cut it. So let's pretend that I'm cutting this for the first time, but this project's already made. So we're gonna go to the next step after this. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you the backdrop that I ended up cutting out in pink, but in hindsight, I should have cut this out in a white and then maybe added the pink as my text. And I think that this project would have turned out so much better if I had done that. But again, I can't go back and take it off of the sign because it would rip up that tissue paper, even though we Mod Podged it. And so since I can't do that, this is where I tell you don't do what I did, okay? What not to do, all right? So just to make a background, we're just gonna go over to shapes and we're gonna make this super duper easy. This is the shape I want. I'm gonna click on it and it's gonna pop up here, but we need to make it bigger. So it can't be bigger than 12 inches, but so that it cuts on a 12 by 12 inch board that I'm using. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit more. So I'm going to cut it about that big. All right. I'm going to move it over. All right. So we're just cutting this. And this is what I originally cut in the pink. Again, I wish I would have cut it in the ivory. I wish I would have just switched everything around. But again, hindsight is 20/20, right? So we're going to click on the make. We're going to click on the mat. We're using a 12 by 12 inch mat. And then we are going to hit continue and you're just going to follow the prompts. You're going to pick out your matte vinyl, or if you use a different type of vinyl, you're going to do that and you're going to cut it. It's really super easy. Once you have, the hardest part is putting your stuff on the canvas. So just follow the prompts and make it. And again, yours is going to turn out so much better than mine did. As you can see, you can hardly see the text that we put together, but it's okay. It's all right. I put my transfer paper on first. When I originally did this, the transfer paper didn't want to stick. It didn't want to take off any of the letters. And then I had to think about, okay, there's an easier way to remove the transfer paper and the backing of your vinyl, right? So I figured that out, and this is the way I would do it. I would do it backwards. Put the backing of your vinyl facing you and pull that back. Now, at times you're going to have to get the little scraper tool, but for some reason, I just had quite a time in getting this off, but I did it. But again, it's not the right color and it's hard to see. And I put in all this work and it just wasn't the look that I wanted. But this one, this is easy because this is just one shape. Isn't that a beauty? I just love it. But here we go. We're going to now put our vinyl onto our pink. And again, I like this, but when we put it on the side, it just didn't pop. And it was just not the right colors. And I was at Hobby Lobby and I had to be somewhere else and I had my kids with me and I just made a snap quick decision and this is the way it turned out. And when I put it together, I couldn't change it after I put it on the sign. So here we are, we're going to take this off because we've put one cut file onto another cut file and now we're going to put it on the sign. Now, here we go. We got it to stick that time. Beautiful. All right. Then we're going to take some more transfer vinyl and go over the top of that. And we're going to cut it. And now we're going to pick up this from the cutting board here, or the printing, yeah, the cutting board is what they would call it. I took, as you can see, I cut some off. But now we want to pick up that pink and that cream text, okay? So we're going to pick it all together. So again, you're going to need to really go over it. For some reason, I felt like the Cricut transfer tape was much easier than the one that I'm using here. I can't remember where I got this. It's also very possible that this is like 5 years old, this transfer tape. So if you have a good transfer tape that you really like, if you like Cricut, if you like a different brand, I would love to hear about that. So we finally get this going. It was a little bit of a pain. And at this point, I'm a little over this project. I'm just going to be honest. This is like day three of trying to figure this out. But that's what I'm going to show you guys. I can mess it up, but I can tell you what I would have done differently. And if I hadn't have used some permanent vinyl, and if this would have been able to come off of my board without maybe, I was afraid it would take off that tissue paper, even though I had it Mod Podge, I just didn't want to risk that because I put so much work into it. And honestly, one of my best friends was like, "Can I have that sign? I love it." I'm like, yes, you may have the sign. It's just fine with me. So now we got it off and now we're going to put it on the board. And if you watch this whole video, bless your heart, thank you so much for being here with me and learning not what to do when it comes to your Cricut design. And let me know in the comments below. I'm not a Cricut expert, but I know how to do some of it, right? So this part, it came up just fine. Did just fine. But if you look really closely, there's some bubbles. I should have used that brayer and I should have, flattened it some more, but let's make a bow. And we're just going to do like 10-inch loops. And we're going to do this, I think, twice? Yeah, on each side. You've seen me make these bows before. And then we're just going to make a little tail. We're going to take a piece of wire or whatever I have. Maybe we took a zip tie. We'll see. Let's see what I pick up here. And yeah, we took a piece of wire. And we're just going to put it in the middle and we're going to twist it. But at this point, guys, I was so sick and tired of this project. I didn't want to look at it anymore. Yep. I didn't want to look at it. So do me a favor, if you watch all of this video, which if you're here, you are close to the end, and I appreciate it. I really do. And leave me a bow down in the comments, okay, if you have an emoji. And if you don't have the emoji, just say bow. That helps me. We're just going to take an extra piece of material here, put it in the middle. We're just going to glue this on this board because honestly, at this point, I was over it. I was so over this project. But I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you want to learn more about the Cricut, maybe do some signs, how we can incorporate it in our everyday crafting. I would love to show you. And honestly, I want to learn more. So I appreciate you being here, watching this. If you didn't get into, let's see, we've got, oh my goodness, tomorrow, the Home Decor Crafting Summit starts, and Crafter Summit. And if you haven't got your seat, make sure you get that link down below. It's a free live event if you watch it live. If you want to watch it for the next 3 months, you might have to pay for the ticket and they will send you those videos. But I'll be making a beautiful wreath to share with you, and I hope you show up. So anyways, leave me a bow in the comments. See me next week. Let me know what you want me to make, and I hope you learned something from what not to do in crafting today. So here's the finished product. It's not a bad craft. It just doesn't pop on the sign, and it's hard to read. And I didn't do a great job of putting the vinyl on the sign to begin with. So learn from me what not to do, and change the colors. And honestly, you're going to find your own napkins and your own tissue paper and make something beautiful. We'll see you next time on Julie's Wreath Boutique.